Lorna Dueck has joined us. Lorna is no stranger to our viewers. She's the host and executive producer of Listen Up and a former co-host of 100 Huntley Street. She's just returning from the Arctic, covering a miraculous story of God's protection. Lorna, welcome to Full Circle.
Hey, this was a Huntley Street partnership. You guys, we went together, and so I'm glad you invited me to share.
And I know that we have many viewers up in the Great White North, and so we want to say hello to you. We love you up there. Lorna,
you certainly do have, we do it. Let me show you just how far Great White North we went. Okay, remember, a fifth of Canada's landmass is in Nunavut. Only 27,000 people live there, and we're like way south of that, right? That's Hudson's Bay in the middle. And this story is going to come to you from Coral Harbour, which is at the top of Hudson's Bay there, the very top. It's Canada's 8th largest island, and the only community that's there is this one. On Coral Harbour, 800 friendly people, a 4% birth rate. There are just children everywhere. I was just smothered. I loved it.
Right. But you went up there, obviously, for a reason.
For one very special teenager, this young man, Jupi Angutulak, and this is an amazing young man who, we've got a shot of him with a great spear here of it just given to him. Jupi is the teenager who was stranded on the ice for 3 days, 2 nights out there, and this week was his first week that he returned home. This week was his first welcoming back to the community, and they had this giant feast, giant for out there. I mean, when you have hundreds of people gathered, that is a big deal.
Lorna, remind us what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so hunting is part of the human survival chain there. Like this, it's not anything like sports. It is just part and parcel of how you eat. And you will go out there, you'll catch seal, Arctic char, polar bear. Polar bear is serious hunting. It's serious provision. It's the warmest clothing that they use.
Do they eat polar bear?
They eat polar bear. There are more polar bear there than there are people, and they are a menace to the people, and they are also part of their survival chain. Caribou. It takes 8 caribou legs to make a pair of mittens, and everybody is wearing the fur of the animals around them. It's, you know, realizing, Moira, a bag of milk is $14.97 there. I pay $4.97.
We're talking about bananas.
Bananas were $6.15 a kilogram this week up there.
$6.15.
A cucumber was $5.50. I mean, you have to eat that, but because before there were grocery stores, they were eating that meat. It is still part of their life.
And that's why this boy was hunting.
He was hunting for polar bear with his 66-year-old uncle. And because of climate change, the ice is not as firm as it normally is, and it broke away from the shore. As a whole mix of errors, the snowmobile broke down, and they were stranded. And Jupi decided to walk. He could still see the lights of the town.
And which one is Jupi?
Jupi is this teenager here that we showed. Jupi is a 17-year-old teenager, and he started to float out. The ice pan broke, and he started to be adrift, and he drifted 40 kilometers out into Hudson's Bay, up towards the Northwest Passage, and it was a crisis. And so this is the miracle of welcoming Jupi back.
Now, is it true that there were polar bears with him on that ice floe?
Yes, there was a mother polar bear and 2 cubs.
Oh, and that doesn't sound very safe.
It wasn't safe at all, and Jupi shot the mother polar bear to survive. And this community has been stung by Canada's reaction of that because they didn't understand the culture, they didn't understand the survival, and the criticism just really rocked them. However, what the real core of this story is this praying mom. And the whole family, the whole community, God is so close in Coral Harbour. And here's Charlie and Mary with their son Jupi. And she tells the story of taking his picture, holding it to her chest, and marching and praying through the night, saying, God, he's a strong young man, save him. And here's their whole family. They're so close there. You see Jupi with his 5 siblings. That's Armand and Susie, his grandmother beside him, his little brother to his left. It it's an amazing story. And so what happened is Jupy came home this week. They had a feast, and we were invited to come with it, and Huntley Street made a partnership because you know they love you out there. And this is all raw meat, girls. At the end is a seal, and they eat still traditionally on the floor. The baked desserts were on the table to the left, and people just crowded in. And what unfolded was this amazing celebration. Now, this is like a receiving line, and they're like welcoming Jupy and his uncle Jimmy beside him back as if from the dead. A gospel band is playing in the background, and then it's just flat out thanking God, praising God, and then after they've done this, the speeches, the testimonies, the miracle stories, the dancing begins. And I think I had to go to bed like at midnight, and they were still dancing.
Wow. But I mean, this whole ordeal, Lorna, I mean, what did this do to this boy when he survives 3 days on an ice floe, and he hears that his mother was interceding, praying like that for him? Did he make any connection while that was going on?
Jupy is absolutely a believer in God, and Jupy prayed, but Denise, you'll find this very interesting, the journalist that you are. What happened to Jupy those 3 days on the ice is a story that is being held by an agent. And so this is a community that only 1 in 4 people have a job. Entrepreneurial opportunities are very rare, and the family has decided they're going to hold back the experience of those 3 days on the ice to be sold to profit for Jupy's future. So it was a real privilege to even be invited in to show you as much as we did. And what we're going to bring you in the new year is the entire rescue experience through the eyes of the praying community.
This is Listen Up TV.
And this is the 100 Huntley Street special that we're going to be bringing back for you. And you're going to get it very early on the new year. And Listen Up will take a longer look at it for our whole half-hour show. But we've got a feature that's coming early in the new year. And so, Denise, what did Jupy experience of God those 3 days on the ice? What happened with the polar bear? He fell in the water. How did he survive still? All of those questions.
And the uncle, he was separated from
the uncle. Has told his story that you'll see rolling in the special that we'll bring in the new year. The uncle's story, you'll hear that. But Jupy's story, the family, as you see how protective they are, has decided, you know what, the whole world criticized him for killing. They felt the world criticized him for killing the polar bear. See, they're caught between the old and the new. That polar bear Jupy was out hunting, it's brought back, it's shared with the whole community. It's not sold, it's just an announcement on the radio. There's meat, there's fresh meat here. Everybody comes and shares.
That's fascinating.
Not only that,
that's
but
fascinating.
They said he probably wouldn't have shot it if it wasn't survival at stake. I mean, he's alone on this ice floe with it. And the polar bears are aggressive, and they're dangerous.
Listen, all through Coral Harbor, there are polar bear skins hanging. I mean, this is part of the economy there. You know, you have to realize, don't put our fuzzy Coca-Cola polar bear images on this. There are more polar bears than people there. In that whole Kivalliq region of the Eastern Arctic, it's part of the economy.
And that wonderful sense of community, I don't know if you caught that it goes out on the radio. Hey, there's a polar bear. Everybody comes and participates in using every particle of that animal.
Yes, and so I find it fascinating that this is a praying community which knows God gave them a miracle with Jupy. And they're going to finish telling the story in a way that will help their community, not just let it peter out and be gone.
Well, Lorna, thank you for being with us and giving us just a little taste, a little sampling of what is to come.
Yes, so watch early in the new year. I think it's the first or second week. Your producers got it lined up that our special from Coral Harbor, Nunavut will be on.
That'll be right here on 100 Huntley Street, so make sure you stay tuned for that.